Hey, what's going on, you guys? Welcome back to the podcast. Today, you're not going to believe it, but I actually have a guest on my podcast. It is the first Zoom call podcast that I've ever done, and I think it went really well. The quality is pretty decent. You can tell internet kind of cuts in and out here and there, and it kind of gets quality gets a little funny, but it's just like little snippets here and there, and I feel like you can still make out what we're talking about. But my buddy Matt Clark, who I haven't really talked to too much. We've interacted through social media here and there in the last few years, but I met him in 2008 when I was in Turkey. We were both dog handlers together, good friends, worked together, hung out all the time, and we had a lot of things in common. We game together. We get into all this stuff, man, and I think it went really well. He bugged me about it, and he was like, "Let's do it, let's do it, let's do it." And I'm glad he did, man. He got me going, and it said, "Fuck it, let's just do it and see how it goes." And I think it turned out really well, you guys. So finally got a guest on, and my first Zoom podcast ever on the Dave Cast. Here it is, Matt Clark, you guys.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
What is going on, everybody?
What's going on, everybody?
What up, everybody?
Welcome to the Dave Cast.
Welcome back to Dave Cast.
The Dave Cast.
The Dave Cast. Thank you guys for listening.
Thank you guys for listening.
Thank you guys for listening. Man, I cannot get a point across to save my life today, you guys.
Getting emotional. Stop getting emotional, Dave.
Listen to me, you guys. I'm out of control.
So, welcome to the Dave Cast. I'm going to be your host, Dave Helmbrecht. This was the first podcast. I hope you guys liked it. I love you guys, and thank you so much. Love you guys. Later. All right, man. What's up?
Not much, man. It's been a long time. Since I think I met you like in 2008, maybe.
Yeah, I think, was I in Turkey? No, I was in Turkey in, God, I'm terrible with dates, dude. I'm trying to remember shit. Like, my memory is so, like, fucking entangled with so much shit.
I think I got there in 2008, stayed there till 2010. I was on that accompanied tour, and you were there on the single.
Unaccompanied, living in the dorms and shit, causing trouble. We were both dog handlers there. What dog did you work again? Didn't you have that itchy ass dog that had like allergies and shit?
Yeah, Ronnie dog. And then then Ronnie died, and then I got Max.
Did Ronnie die while I was there? I can't remember. What happened to Ronnie?
I don't remember. He just got sick. He was an old man.
I remember Rocky died. That shit was crazy. Were you there when Rocky died? AJ Frank was working him.
Yeah, maybe. I don't remember.
He jumped up into the back of a truck one time. They hupped him up into one of the 350s, and he like hit his stomach or his abdomen on the truck. And within 30 days, like it like made cancer break out in his abdomen, and he like lost 20 pounds in like a couple weeks and just died.
Damn,
and it's crazy. It's almost like there was already some sort of freaking there's shit going on in there, and I guess just him hitting the truck like activated it or whatever. Yeah. That was a crazy, crazy time. And then what was that crazy dog that Carter worked? Avar, or not Avar. Avar was one of my dogs, but Arab, wasn't it like Arab or Arab or
something like that? Yeah, it was like a long-haired shepherd or something.
I think he was considered a Belgian Travern, but
yeah, Travern, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
The weirdest, ugliest fucking dog I'd ever seen as a working dog. He like ate like his vet wrap and like choked on it in his kennel or something. It was fucking weird. I've stayed in touch with Carter a little bit. I went and stayed at his place in Fayetteville, Arkansas when I was going down to NCOA. We hung out. We like drove motorcycles all over, man. In Arkansas, dude, like people joke about fucking Arkansas and how shitty it is, or I don't know, like why they think it's shitty, but like, dude, it was beautiful, just trees and hills and like lakes all over.
Yeah,
I'm from fucking North Dakota, so everything's freaking beautiful for me, man.
Yeah, I know those guys like him and what was his name, Smith. I think they were all about Buells and buying Buells or something when they got back. And I think Carter bought a Buell, or maybe Smith owned a Buell or something. I can't.
Smith owned a bunch of Buells. Carter ended up buying like some Yamaha, I think.
Okay.
When I was there visiting him, he had what are the dirt bikes crossed over into like
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 a
a
dual
street bike.
sport type of thing?
Yeah, he had a
Picture
dual
bike?
sport. I don't remember what kind it was. And then he let me ride around on this old like 80s Honda that he had. It was like a vintage bike that he was working on and stuff. And
That's cool.
I don't know. It was a lot of fun riding through Arkansas and
Were you
stuff.
with them when they went on that trip in Turkey? They rented those
Oh,
motorcycles?
no, I didn't go on with him or whatever. Did they go? They ended up going to over by Istanbul, right? What was that spot?
Yeah, I can't remember. I remember they rented motorcycles and went somewhere on them.
Dude, I couldn't imagine riding around Turkey on a motorcycle. Like he let me ride his Buell around every once in a while, around messing around off base a couple times, but and I wasn't a big motorcycle rider at the time. Like I rode dirt bike and stuff in high school, motorcycles here and there when a friend let me ride them, but I didn't really get into it till I got back. When I was in Qatar, I bought a Harley. It was just like a 48. It was like the big front tire,
Yeah, sports.
and it was just one of their Sportsters or whatever. And it was an all right bike, man. It just around town was great, but once I remember the first time I took it out on the interstate and hit 70, I felt like it was gonna blow me off the fucking bike, dude.
I
And
actually own
then
one of those. I bought one too.
yeah,
But I felt the same way. Like every time I go down the highway, it felt like my feet always got pushed off the pegs and
dude, it was
kicked
ridiculous.
my butt.
And then I got a Buell 1125R. So like I know Smith actually kind of got me interested in Buells and this and that. So like I
Yeah,
seen
same
this
with me.
bike for sale, and I went and got it, man. And an 1125R, 1100 fucking cc. It's a sport bike, but it's like it's a V twin, right? Is that what they call it? Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
Rotex V twin engine. And it was like so fuck, dude. I couldn't keep the front tire on the ground. Uh, I could hang with leader bikes like freaking R1s and other shit like that, dude. Like I shouldn't have owned that bike, man. And
Yeah,
then
I did the same thing.
I ended up blowing it up. Well, it locked up on me. And the same night, we were riding around and there was it sounded like the gearbox was chattering and there was a bunch of chatter. And I'm like, well, let's get it home and whatever. Well, we ripped down the interstate at like, dude, I hit like 130 miles an hour, and we get off the interstate and we're going down one of the main drags in Grand Forks here. And all of a sudden the rear tire just locks up and throws me forward. I grab the clutch, which thank God it started to roll again. If I would have went down, it would have been pretty slow. I think I would have been all right. But I could imagine, dude, if that tire locked up doing 130 miles an hour, bro, I wouldn't be here right now, or I'd be sitting in a wheelchair.
Yeah, I've done that before. Not that, but I had like a CBR 1000 ridiculous motorcycle, and I don't know. I love motorcycles. I'd love to get another one. My favorite one that I ever owned was a Triumph Bonneville, like a little get around town bike.
I want to get a bike too, man, but my neck injuries and shit I'm dealing with right now, I wouldn't be able to ride very far.
Yeah, I've
very
been listening
long.
to all your podcasts. You're all fucked up.
I know,
Can I
man.
cuss on here, or?
2 neck surgeries. Yeah, I cuss all the time on mine. I say all sorts of shit. I just try to be on the podcast, man. I try to be as real as possible. There's been a bunch of podcasts back in the day where I obviously didn't talk about a lot of shit I had going on. And I wish I could have, though. That was like, it really bothered me that I couldn't bring up certain things or whatever. Like I was cheating on Robin with all these girls, man. And like, I ain't gonna talk about it on there. After I got busted, I bring it up every once in a while. I was a huge pothead for like over a year and a half, maybe almost 2 years. And I had jobs that tested, so I couldn't fucking bring it up on the podcast. I was stoned for almost most of them. And I feel like at the time I justified it and I was like, oh, I'm better when I'm high because I'm just kind of like flowing and I can talk and stuff. But I get like paranoid that I sound stupid and that I just wasn't making any sense. So I would always delete it. And I don't know. I'm like my biggest critic when it comes to like the content and shit that I put out. Like
for sure. Yeah. No, I understand.
Dude, my verbal pauses used to be so bad. So like it's I don't know. I'm getting better at it, and the more you do it, like anything else, the better you're gonna get at it or whatever.
Yeah, I think the Air Force trained all that out of me. I've been to so many like instructor schools and whatever,
Dude,
but I still have some of them that I catch myself doing a lot, and it is what it is.
It is, yeah, man. It is what it is. I used to edit it out. I'd go through and I would just cut out the verbal pauses or like, you know, the ums and all this stuff. And I
Yeah.
stopped doing that too. I'm like, you get the real me, man. If you want to listen, that's what you're gonna get.
Yeah. Well, anyways, yeah. So back to Turkey. I've been I was a dog handler with you, and then I retrained and became a loadmaster on C-17s and went back several times. You know, and it's completely changed since 10 years ago or whatever. Whenever we were there.
What's so different from when we were there?
Well, I mean, the base is the same, obviously, and there's a lot of people there still, but it's you can't go off base, you can't go to the alley, you can't do any of that kind of thing anymore.
Why did that all change?
Just it was a terrorist threat, and so they deemed it that you can't go out there.
It's not like that shit wasn't there when we were there, I guess.
I know.
But
Yeah, I know. I mean,
dude,
yeah,
how shitty would Turkey be if you can't leave base? I mean, do they get to do like MWR trips and stuff? Probably still, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know because I don't know. I haven't been there in a long time, but
Dude, being stuck on that base would have freaking sucked. I love Turkey, man. I talk about it all the time, and you know, beautiful place. The people are kind of fucking weird, you know, but
dude, that job sitting in that big metal building, searching all those dump trucks.
same fucking trucks over and over again all
how
day
many
long.
dump trucks were there just all day? Clark.
It was hot as shit.
Yeah, Aslan. You remember Aslan?
Yeah, I remember all those dudes are funny, man.
Yeah.
David. I'm like, Jesus. Amel. I've stayed in touch with Amel for a little while on Facebook and stuff, but
yeah, I did too for a little bit, but yeah, it was hard to get in touch with her sometimes. I'd ask her how she's doing or send her like a birthday thing, you know.
Yeah.
Facebook tells you when it's people's birthdays.
I was curious. I know she was trying to get to the United States eventually, but I don't know I wonder if she ever made it. I don't know. Too many people like to try to keep up with, man. Like that's one good thing about social media. I could go into fucking why social media is terrible, but I mean, it's like I get to see stuff you post and things you do, you know, and I get to see a few other people, but that's like the whole Air Force career was just meeting cool people and then saying goodbye, and you can't keep up with all of them, man. No way.
Man. It's funny because like, this is my 7th duty station, and every one you go to, there's always those couple of people that you meet, and you wish you could take them with you to the next place, but it's kind of like, all right then, well, we had a good couple of years.
Dude, it programs you weird, man. And I don't know if you feel the same way, but like I'd miss people in a way, but it's like in a way I don't miss people. It's because when you're deployed or you're TDY or you're away from your loved ones, you know, you can't sit and miss them the whole time. You'll go crazy, you know, you get depressed. So like I don't know if you like suppress those feelings or what, but now it's like I cannot see my kids. They live in the same town as me. I cannot see them for a couple weeks, and it ain't like, man, I can't wait to see my kids. And I love when I see them, but it's weird how and it's something I'm working through with therapy and shit too, but it's just weird, man.
Yeah. And that's just, I don't know. It's just kind of been like that for me at all these places. You meet a couple of good people, like I said, and make really strong friendships with them. And they're still friends. I just don't talk to them anymore.
Yeah. I comment on some of their fucking Facebook stuff here and there.
Yeah, for sure.
You see AJ, remember AJ Frank, right?
Yeah.
Chief, he made Chief.
Damn.
I knew he was gonna, man. He was such a kiss ass the whole time. But I mean, he was just career orientated and I wasn't. I go back and now I look at it. I wish I would have. I wish I would have studied for promotions more.
Sure.
I wish I would have put myself out there more.
That other, I went to the guy after him, Magnus or
Dan. Yeah. I remember
he made
Dan.
Chief too, I think.
And his hot wife.
Yeah. I think he's a chief.
He's up there. I know that. A whole bunch of people I served with are making senior, making chief. And I would never even imagine, like I would have made master. I got out of the 14-year mark, and I'm sure I would have made master by the time I got out, but
yeah.
What rank are you now?
Being the kennel master there is yeah, man, he would have been the kennel master because both of those guys. Who was that girl that was there before them?
As a kennel master?
Yeah.
Charlene Daniels.
Yeah, Daniels. I wonder, does she get out or?
I think she's out. She would have retired by now. Dude, I would have retired last year.
Yeah, I'm about to. I got like 12 months left.
What rank are you right now?
I'm a tech.
Oh, a tech.
Yeah.
Are you in that? Aren't you? You're in a career field that's like not very high man, right? Or
Yeah,
were?
it's terrible. It's
It's hard to make promotions.
very hard. But
Use that as an excuse, bro. Whatever.
it is what it is. Yeah, that's my excuse. I'm
When do
happy
you
though.
retire?
October of 22. So I pushed the button in, I don't know, what, 6 months.
What's the chance of making master before then? Or are you not even worried about it?
No, I'm not even worried about it, man. I just want to get out. I'm ready to retire and be done. And
dude, when I seen the in 14, they were doing a volunteer separation program.
Yeah,
and I thought about it a whole bunch, and I'm like, man, and I was the NCOIC. I was in charge of the commercial gate here at Grand Forks. Talk about fucking boring, man. And I wasn't working a dog anymore, and it was just, I was just ready to get out, dude. I was worthless. Not, you know what I mean? I stood up for my troops and did what I had to do, but I just seen so much bullshit, and I was ready to get out. Some days I regret it, like knowing I would have retired last year, bro. Seriously. You know, when I retire, even if I retired as a tech or early master, I'd be getting almost $2,000 a month free money for the rest of my life.
Yeah, plus your disability.
But
my wife just.
But they were forcing me to be a recruiter. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't get any of my disability money yet either. I'm 70% disabled through the VA right now, and there's a good chance I'm going to be 100 here soon. But when I did that VSP, they gave me 85,000, and I got to pay all that shit back, dude, before I can get any of my money.
Oh man.
So I'll start seeing money next summer sometime. 2022 is when I'll start seeing some money. If I get 100%, it'll pay back a lot faster.
Oh yeah, 100%. That's like $3,600 a month.
Yeah, my buddy gets it right now, and I'm like fucking jealous.
Yeah, I work with a guy here. He's a retired master, 100%, and he's like a GS9 or something, and drives an Escalade. You know, like
the retirement alone is like a fucking really nice house payment. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I regret it sometimes, but like I said, they're making me be a recruiter. I would have to leave Grand Forks, and I wasn't ready to leave my kids. I was in a pretty good relationship at the time, which I end up fucking up, which I did, all relationships. But I just wasn't ready to leave my kids. And the nearest place I could have got was somewhere in like the Minneapolis area, or like I think Omaha area or whatever. Like they just got a new recruiter in Fargo, so I wasn't gonna be able to get Fargo. I think the nearest recruiter, other like out in Rapid City, and like I said, Omaha and stuff. And I just wasn't ready to leave my kids. And I was in a really good relationship with a really good girl at the time, and I don't know. And then I got out and went to welding school, which was fucking awesome. Welding school was cool, man. It was like going to shop class every day for a year. I enjoyed it.
My favorite in school.
Yeah, man. I still love to weld. I welded when I got done with school. I only worked one welding job through it's called PS Doors, or PS Industries now, and we just made industrial doors, a whole bunch of like safety hatch stuff, flood prevention stuff. And dude, welding in a manufacturing setting was like boring, like same shit over and over, same welds over and over every day. And there was cool perks to it where I would weld shit and make stuff out of scrap metal. Like I could make anything I wanted out of metal there. Like you had the folding machines, tube benders, you name it,
Yeah.
By the time I got done, I was operating the robot because I had my first neck injury and surgery, came back, and they had this robot that they were trying to program and get running, and I took it over, man, and I went ham on it. Like it was fun learning it. And I was making the company a bunch of money, and we were, making shit more efficiently and this and that. But I just ended up missing so much work because of the surgeries that they let me go. And I don't know. But like working as a civilian, bro, when you get out, man, you get a civilian job, dude. It's like you do more work, you show up on time, you like take pride in your job, and you get the same raise as the fucking alcoholic guy next to you that messes up shit all day and he's late every other day.
That's how it goes.
Yeah, man. It is what it is, I guess. I don't know what I'm going to do now, dude, with these neck surgeries and this and that. And I don't want to talk about me. My people, they know all about me, man. But I don't know. I'm getting a nerve stimulator implant put in my neck here in a couple weeks. And well, actually about a month now, they rescheduled it. And if that takes a lot of the pain away, I'll start looking at a job, dude. I don't know what, obviously I can't go back to welding or any like really physical jobs. I don't know. I can't afford to fucking hurt my neck again. And dude, it has been terrible being out of work and just, dude, that's why I make stupid backcast videos and I sit here and try to entertain myself. And then with the neck injuries, I can't do the grappling and jiu-jitsu anymore. Like, all right, but that's enough about me, man. I mean, where are you at right now though? Like, where are you stationed at?
Yeah, so now I'm stationed at Shaw in South Carolina. It's in this little town in Sumter. I just got here a few months ago. I was so I left Turkey when we were, with you, and I went to Malmstrom,
Oh man,
Montana, and that place, I hated it. I really just hated being a cop. I like being a dog handler, but I knew like I was getting promoted, and you can't be a dog handler anymore, type of thing. And so at the end of the day, I was still going to be a cop. So that was at my 10-year mark, and I was like, I got to get out of this. So I went to the Air Force has that website where you can go and see all the different jobs that are available for retraining. And so I picked the top 3 that needed the most people, because in my mind, to get out of this, I got to go to something that they want. And so it was Loadmaster, boom operator, and something else. And yeah, and they picked me up for Loadmaster. And that was that. So then I went.
explain to my listeners like what is a Loadmaster?
Yeah, so Loadmaster, you basically are in charge of the weight and balance of all the airplanes. So you have an airplane, you load something heavy on it, and it has to be where the airplane can fly. If it's too far forward or too far aft in the back, then it will not fly correctly. So anyway, you go wherever, you load the equipment or the gear or the troops or whatever it is, and you fly it to wherever it needs to go. And it was a great job. Probably the best enlisted job ever, besides the Coast Guard, is being an aircraft loadmaster, at least on C-17s. Because we didn't really, we would deploy, but it would be for 45 days. We'd go to Kuwait or something like that and fly out of Kuwait to wherever. And yeah.
So you've been all over then. Where have you all been as a Loadmaster?
Man, everywhere. Yeah, everywhere. My favorite place was Greece. I always like going to Sigonella, which is in Sicily. We used to do this run because I was stationed at Dover, and we would go from Dover, which is in Delaware, down to Virginia to this Navy base.
I flew out of Dover a couple of times in the
area. And then we go from Virginia over to Rota, which is in Spain, spend the night, and then go from Spain to Sigonella, which is in Sicily, spend the night, hit up, then fly from there to Bahrain, back, and do that same thing back. And it was great. It was awesome. The people were awesome. It was the best squadron I've ever been in, for sure.
Really? Did you ever fly into like Iraq, Afghanistan, or any of that?
Oh yeah, all the time. Yeah, every time you go is where you're going.
But, oh yeah, bringing shit in and out.
Yeah, especially like I did a deployment to Kuwait out of Dover, and that's all you do is just into Iraq to every place, and then back. And it was crazy too, because I remember the first time I ever went to Erbil, which is in in Iraq, and we landed. And I've been to Iraq several times, especially as a dog handler, and the place was just sucked. It wouldn't be a tourist type of destination ever. But anyway, we landed in Erbil, and I get off the plane, and I'm like, "Are we in Iraq? Like this doesn't." Everything was green, and there was trees and grass, and nothing was on fire. So it was crazy, And I just remember thinking to myself, like, "Man, I'd come here." I wouldn't, but if I had to pick a place, that would be it.
Yeah. When I flew into Baghdad, and I didn't realize it was just endless rows of palm trees or whatever they were as far as you could see. Yeah. And I was like expecting it just to be desert and whatnot. And a couple of the FOBs I went out to were pretty deserty. A lot of my missions that I went out on was just looking for caches, and it was like farmland and stuff. It was actually pretty nice, and it wasn't like overly hot. It wasn't Iraq to me, like it wasn't that bad. Yeah, we got, you got some shit every once in a while, but other than that, like it wasn't bad. And we would just be doing training at these little FOBs, waiting for an army, company to pick you up and take you out with them. And
yeah, I did the same type of thing.
Sometimes missions were like the ops tempo was like high, and you were going out every week. and then all of a sudden it would just die down, and like I would just fucking hang out. And you know what the funny thing is I would sit and play Conquer, which I wanted to bring up with you.
Oh,
I hate your guts for ever
Yeah.
introducing me to that game. I don't know. I think I've talked about it on my podcast before, but like Conquer is like a, it's like, I don't know, a generic version of WoW. Like, what would you call it? Like,
I don't know. That's the only game like that I've ever played.
it's like
And
RPG. And I talk about WoW and I make jokes about WoW nerds and stuff. But I feel like that game, dude, if I played it, like I'm going to disappear into it. And I'm like that with a lot of games.
yeah, I don't even really remember the gist of that game, but I remember you jump around a lot
Conquer,
trying
I
to
mean,
find
it
Dragon
was
Balls.
more, yeah, Dragon Balls, and then you're always upgrading your gear.
Yeah,
And it was a pay to win game though, because whoever had the, with all your gear, and your character's level gave you a battle point score. And you could have a battle point score of like 300 and I could have 301, and you'll never beat me. It's so dumb.
Yeah, I remember on that game I was like I started playing it, and I got to talking to this other dude who was like a Romanian or something, and I bought a bunch of gear from him, like for real money, and I was just like this badass dude on this game, and I made myself like a healer or something, or a reviver, or I
The
can't
water
remember.
tail.
Yeah. And so
Yeah,
I'd go
man.
around, and we would have like the wars against other people, and I'd just go around because nobody could kill me because I had all this super gear on. I would just revive all my teammates, and I just
Me and
remember
you did
like,
that. That's what we did, man. We had water tails and we would just bounce around and just keep reviving all the badass players in our guild.
yeah, it was.
And they had these guild wars where it was just everybody hits they hit that pillar in the middle, everybody's just trying to destroy the pillar. And when the time ran out, whoever owned the pillar won. And now I look back on it now, man, and it was pretty generic.
Yeah, it was dumb. I just remember like I don't think you could walk. You had to jump everywhere.
You could walk, but it was like super slow. And then everybody hopped around the whole time.
Yeah, it was stupid. It
was
go around
pretty
and like kill monsters and stuff, and then like I'd be out there just for hours and jump all the way, and then some dude would just come by and sit next to me. I'm like, this dude's gonna kill me. And then, one shot, dead.
Yeah, man.
I haven't played that game. I remember being in Turkey playing that game and like waking up in the middle of the night because we were completely opposite time from the United States, so I could get up for the war or whatever and go revive all my clanmates.
Dude, I would walk around these small fobs in Iraq trying to find the best Wi-Fi signal I could find so I could play that fucking game. Jesus.
Oh, man,
imagine if I would have spent that time like reading books, or if I would have started a podcast that long ago, man. Like
educating yourself, man.
My jiu-jitsu black belt is the reason. His name's Dylan. He's down in Fargo, Academy of Combat Arts. He's the reason I started a podcast. And he told me one day we're just training, and he's like, man, you don't ever shut up. You have the gift for gab. You should be you should start a podcast. And like I didn't start it for like a year after he said that. And I always think like if I would have started a year sooner, I'd just be better at it. I have more episodes, maybe a better following, and once you get a certain amount of listens, you can start getting advertisements and getting paid. And and that's not even really, I mean, it'd be cool to get some extra money for doing it. But really my big thing is just, it's therapy for me, sitting and talking, because I like to fucking talk. And then I feel like I'm archiving all these stories and this stuff that like my kids and my grandkids and grandkids, you know what I mean? Like be able to go back. Like I would love to go back and find videos or just audio recordings of like my great grandpa or great grandpa just talking about bullshit.
I was just talking to my wife about that the other day. It's like, I know who my dad is and I kind of know who my grandpa is, but after that, where the hell did I come from? I have no clue. But, in 500 years from now, with all the social media and YouTube and video and documentation, everybody will know who we were. Not that they'll give a shit, but at least they'll have access to know who we were.
For real.
I mean, I can't go back very far. I mean, I've tried the ancestry thing or whatever.
Dude, I did that 23, and it wasn't 23andMe. I did the ancestry one. And it couldn't have been more boring white guy, like German, Irish. And that was it. Like no little cool Chinese or something in the,
Yeah.
in there is just fucking Irish German. And I already knew that. It was like such a waste of money.
Yeah, I got that from my wife one year for Christmas, and she got a kick out of it, trying to find out where she was from. Yeah.
Where were you born and raised and stuff?
I'm born and raised in Kansas, so I lived there for 20 years and then joined the Air Force, and now I'm 40 and been all over the place.
Small town Kansas or?
No, it was the biggest city in Kansas, and at the time it had a population of, I don't know, a few 100,000. I don't know what it is now, maybe 500,000. Wichita,
What city's
Kansas.
in? Wichita.
Like,
Yeah. I've driven through Wichita. I've driven through Topeka. On my way to
Topeka is
Texas.
the capital.
Yeah.
But I want to retire to San Antonio. That's just a great place.
Yeah, you like San Antonio? What do you like about it?
Well, there's like 2 million people there. If you want to go get something, you can just go get it, that type of thing. Plus there's a ton of jobs.
For sure. I mean, I'm in Grand Forks, North Dakota, and Grand Forks is the third biggest city, in third or second, dude. I don't even know, but we got like 70,000 people. And I mean, if you need something, it's pretty much here. You can run to Fargo and get it. Fargo's 70 miles away. But yeah, it is nothing like being in, a big city where there's, we get bored here, man. Like there's hockey games in the wintertime. Yeah. I fish a lot, but other than that, there isn't.
I mean, San Antonio,
there's concerts that roll through once in a while.
San Antonio is one of those towns where it takes you like an hour just to get from one end to the other.
I had way too much fun in San Antonio, bro.
Oh, I love San Antonio. It was like my second home before I, actually got stationed there. I went there after Dover, actually, to Lackland, and was an instructor for like the basic Loadmaster course, teaching kids how to do math.
Is that what Loadmaster is? Just math, knowing how to balance shit?
Yeah, that's it. Just, you take the weight of an item and multiply it by where it's going to be, type of thing.
Jeez,
and that tells you.
That sounds boring to me. No, I'm just kidding.
What kind of effect it'll have on the airplane when it flies.
It's interesting. So, like, did that transfer into like when you get out to do? What can you do? Work for an airport or something? Or
that's the thing. So while you're in, it's the greatest enlisted job because you get to fly around, make a little money, per diem, see the world, travel. But when you get out, there's just really nothing available to you except for
working. You can't work like freight, like Evergreen or anything like that, or?
Yeah, sure, you could, doing load planning and stuff, but those guys don't actually fly with the cargo because those guys,
you're gonna be,
those guys already know what they're picking up when they get there, and there's already a load plan done. Whereas for us, we were there in case we get there and they're like, hey man, I mean, I remember a time I went to Iraq and we were the first C-17 back in, after the war had ended, and then we were going back. But we were the first people in. We landed with a bunch of stuff and unloaded it. And then they're like, hey man, you think you could take some of this stuff? And we're like, well, what do you got? And he's like, all of this. And, he pointed to this big freight yard of just random stuff. And so we ended up loading like a street sweeper and all kinds of just weird things, but that's when it comes in handy because there was no pre-plan for that. And so it's like, well, we can take this, and that, load it up, and then you have to figure out where to put it. And you take off and take it back to wherever you're going and unload it. But some of that stuff can be tricky too. I mean, we would fly around. Our biggest job at Dover was following the president wherever he went because we're so close to Andrews. So we could fly to Andrews, pick up his Secret Service detail and fly him to wherever he was going. And when you're loading those limos and helicopters and all that stuff, it's kind of tricky to get it on the airplane because they're so low to the ground, or they're going to hit the top of the airplane when you bring it in. So that's kind of why you're there.
That's interesting.
Kind of an expert of the airplane, to not necessarily I can change the oil or whatever, but I knew.
You ever meet any presidents?
Yeah, I met Biden when he was the vice president. I met Bush, Obama. And then when Trump came around, I was in Lackland, not flying anymore.
I met Obama in Africa. I was at Djibouti, Africa, as a dog handler. And he came through as a senator. And he gave us a big speech and talked to everybody. And I was so disconnected from politics at the time that I didn't realize he was talking to everybody because he was getting ready to run for president.
Oh, that's cool.
I remember he like petted my dog and shit, and everybody was like, "Don't let him pet your dog." And I had Boric, this dog that would never bite anybody, and he petted the dog and he shook his hand and stuff. And it was
I'm,
cool. I walked like 10 feet behind Bush when the I-35 West, a bridge in Minneapolis collapsed, and we sent me and another dog handler there to do Secret Service mission to just do the Secret Service shit, I guess.
yeah, I
And
met Bush in New York City at the UNGA. I actually got, when I was a dog handler, I had a killer career because I always got picked up for these like specialized things, and so I was attached to the State Department instead of the Secret Service. I would just follow the Secretary of State, who was Condoleezza Rice at the time, just follow her around wherever she went, or show up before she gets there. But man, it was cool. I got pictures with her and stuff, and then I got sent on that mission to Iraq, and that was the best deployment ever with the Army. And instead of just being on some Air Force base, like Balad or something, just working some stupid shift, yeah, shit sucked. But
I was a
anyway,
kennel master in Qatar, man, and that was just
yeah.
search pit all day. I mean, I didn't work it. I sat in the fucking office and
Well, yeah, but I mean that type of thing. I
shit.
didn't want to do that shit. It was like being in Turkey, for 2 years straight of nothing but search pit. Just
You get to do a ram every once in a while.
well, yeah, you'd have to go up there
So bad, dude.
front gate. I hated doing those things.
Did you ever get on night shift? Night shift was pretty cool.
No, I never worked nights. I was
Jeez.
always
Oh,
always
because
in
of the
that search
family,
pit.
family and stuff. You were married,
Yeah, they left that
Dawn at
shit
the
up to the
time.
single guys. I mean, I
Yeah.
probably worked one here and there, but I was mainly assigned to the search pit, which is whatever. But anyways, yeah. So I left Turkey, went to Malmstrom, said the hell with being a cop, became a loadmaster, went to Dover, went to Lackland. Now I'm at Shaw. So while I was at Lackland, my chief came up to me and was like, "Hey man, we're looking for 7-level C-17 guys to retrain into sensor operator. You want to do it?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, let's do it." So then I retrained into being a sensor operator.
What's a sensor operator do?
We fly the drones, the Reapers.
Yeah. Here in Grand Forks, they're big on the UAVs and stuff here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's a cool job. It's like playing video game. Not quite like Conquer, but
You still play video games at all?
Man, I haven't. I have an Xbox One or something, and I got it with a friend of mine who was a loadmaster. He talked me into buying it. And it was for a game, Battlefield, like a first-person shooter type of thing.
Yeah, I've played it. Yeah,
it was cool. And last game I played was probably Call of Duty. But yeah, I'm not really a gamer. Really, well, no, actually, I take that back. My wife and I bought. We have 3 kids, all 3 girls, and our youngest. We bought her a Nintendo Switch, and we got Animal Crossing, and we're like, "Oh, you're gonna love this game, and it'll teach her how to read." And it completely backfired because it doesn't read anything, and she's constantly like, "What does it say?" And I'm like, "Ah, God, just let me play." So then we ended up playing it, and building our little island. I don't know if you ever played this game, but
I've seen kids. Yeah, I've seen my kids play it.
yeah, you just go through and you build an island, and we it's like built it all up. It's a tourist destination for sure, and so that was probably the last game I played. But
I play Warzone a lot now. I was like addicted to Apex Legends, which is just the battle royale genre of games that came out, with Fortnite and stuff. And
yeah,
it was just 3-man teams. You hit the ground with nothing. You try to find shit and be the last team alive, and it's that circle that pushes you into the middle.
oh yeah, kind of like I played like PUBG and stuff on my phone.
It's like they're all the same, man. Just PUBG was more realistic. I played PUBG for a while. And now I'm just into Warzone. Me and my brother get on and play all the time, and I'm decent. And there's just so many fucking try hard, sweaty people out there, man. We get our asses kicked most of the time.
Yeah, I don't. I've never played. My brother-in-law plays. He actually got me into playing Call of Duty. They're only a couple hours up the street. That's how we ended up at Shaw. My wife, she was personnel at AFPC, and so we kind of got our pick of assignment when we left there. And she retired, and then we got our assignment, so we picked here so she could be closer to home, to her hometown, which is only a couple hours north. And anyway, so he talked me into buying Call of Duty, and I played with him a few times, but I'm not very good at it, so I mainly just like run out there and die. I don't really know the strategy to, it's like 1 out of 10 rounds I'll have a positive kill rate, and I'm like, yeah, fucking look at me, man, hell yeah, and I like take screenshots of it and send it to him, and then he's like, all right, let's play, and then I die.
People just know the maps and they know all the little peaky points where you're like, and then you just die. As soon as you get shot, you're fucking dead. But that's what I liked about Apex Legends is like your character's got this shield and it's all about movement. Like you can have good aim and stuff, but you got to be able to move around and like dodge and shit. And it actually gave you a chance where you could move around and re-heal up and not just get fucking melted right away.
Yeah. So I don't really play many games, and I'm about to retire. I can't wait. I want to move back to Texas. A friend of mine, I met him while I was in Texas, and we became really good friends. And he owns a hobby shop, and I'm big into like RC car. I've always been big into RC cars, racing these things. And since I was a little kid, my dad bought me my first one. We built it together, kind of a bonding moment. But anyway, so anyway, he owns this hobby shop there, and he's like, hey man, when you retire, you come back, you got a job here. And so that's kind of what I want to do, just retire, get out, and go back to
what would you do there? Like just build cars, repair shit for people, or what is that?
Yeah, so they sell more of like the high-end type stuff. It's not really Walmart type of RC car hobbies. It's more of race cars, but he has a track and all kinds of stuff. They do the drones and airplanes, and so the whole thing. And he has taken his operation, which was a store in a strip mall, and moved it into this mall that's kind of dying, like a big mall. And he got all this square footage for cheap, and it's really working out for him because people still will come, and now you have all this extra space for the same amount of money, and you can do all kinds of stuff inside instead of outside when it's 110 degrees or whatever. And so anyways, he just needs some help with that, kind of trying to get that going. And it's a proven thing that if you just sell the stuff, they'll come. But if you're doing something in a mall, people are like, hey, what are they doing in there? I want one of those too. And then they come in and buy them. And so that's kind of what he's trying to start getting going. And
RC cars are definitely something where you walk up and you're like, holy crap. And they're racing them and stuff where you're like, I'm going to get one of these. And, even if I'm sure a high percentage don't stick with it. You know what I mean? They own one and they're like, I'm going to do this and that. And then they move on to something else, but fuck it. As long as you sell it to them.
But that's the thing, in this mall, we try to sell the lower priced stuff because of that reason. We know that, some kid's going to want it and his parents are going to buy it and he'll come and race it and then, get rid of it. And then, a lot of times he's really good about it because he'll buy it back from them, obviously not what they paid for it, but, the used market for RC cars is kind of a big thing. And yeah, so he just needs some help with that. So that's
I suppose once people get into it, it becomes competitive and they're like, man, I need to get a faster one, or I need to have a bit different motor in mine, or whatever they do.
I mean, it's just like Supercross, there's pros that get paid 6 figures a year or whatever they get paid. I don't know, to just go around and race these things at these big events. And
I've known people who have them, dude. They're so fucking fast that it's like hard to control the damn things.
Yeah. It's hard. Yeah. It was hard for me I remember when I was a kid learning how, like, when it's coming at you, it's even worse, because now you're backwards with left and right.
Yeah, I suppose.
So yeah, but that's my plan. Just yeah.
Dude, your scooter in Turkey. It reminded me of your scooter in Turkey. Yeah, that thing was nuts, bro. Do you have anything like that still, or no?
No, man. That's kind of like what I like to do. Just buy stuff like that, fix it up, make it better, and just little projects. Like I want to I'm trying to talk my wife into letting me buy a Sportster, an old Harley Sportster, because I want to turn it into a cafe racer. And that's just, I don't really like just stock Sportsters. They're kind of ugly, and they're not ugly, but just not my thing. And
if I would have kept my Sportster, I was gonna bob it out. Like I was gonna go the bobber thing.
Are cool, but I want to.
I already had the seat and stuff. I did the seat. I just didn't do the handlebars, and then I just When I got out of the Air Force, I kind of started getting hard up for money because I fucking wasn't getting that pay anymore. Like I tell people, dude, when I got out, so I'm welding for this company, and like by the end, I was getting $21 an hour, which is for Grand Forks, North Dakota, is really good pay.
Yeah, that's good.
And as a tech sergeant in the Air Force, after child support, which they took 675 from each paycheck, I was still getting like $1,600 to $1,700 a paycheck after child support. And so I started working this job at $20 an hour, and I'm getting like maybe $800 every 2 weeks, dude. Like it's like I got like half the pay, man. It was
you're
pretty
not
bad.
looking forward to getting out.
As long as you got that retirement to fall back on, or you invest it all or anything.
Nice. What's that?
You invest it all or anything?
Well, yeah. I mean, I've done the TSP and some stuff here and there. I mean, to be honest, you don't really make that much money to be like, let me put half of my paycheck into some. Well, I mean, I guess I could have, but I liked buying scooters and RC cars and playing that stupid fucking Conquer game. I must have paid that dude like, I don't know, hundreds of dollars for that shit. I don't even remember.
I remember one time me and you went halves on some gear from some dude. This is so dumb that I remember King Katoy was his name.
Yeah, that was a Romanian.
How stupid can I remember this shit? But me and you went like halvesies on it, dude. And I'm talking, we probably spent almost $1,000, man, if not more.
Yeah,
but by the time I got done with that game, I had probably $2,500 into it. And then I know you were like, I'm done with it. Just take the gear or whatever. And I ended up selling it for like $1,600 to some Egyptian guy. And the Egyptians were fucking crazy about that game.
Yeah.
So many Egyptians on
those
there.
Dudes had some money too, man. But you're right. That game was whoever has the most is going to win. And there for a while, shit, I remember jumping around being untouchable, dude. Like, fuck. Anyway.
That shit's ridiculous. Let's not go back to Conquer.
So you think that Francis beats Jones?
I think so, man. Like Dominic Reyes, he went up against
fight.
That too. And then Santos, some bad knee or whatever, injured knee, and like
that dude looks I feel like different now. Though.
And he barely beats his guys. Took a lot of damage in the fight, and he's gonna go to heavyweight, and he's gonna have more power and be more explosive. He'll probably be a little slower, and I just don't see him going 25 minutes and not taking a big shot from Francis.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. But, I mean, Jones is crafty, and he's the best to ever do it, so.
No, I wouldn't be surprised to see him go out there and grind out a win against him either.
Yeah, it seems like Jones always rises to the occasion of whoever the opponent is.
And people are like, oh, but these last few fights, like I mentioned, like they're closer than his beginning fights. But it's just, that's the game, man. It's evolving. And, with him, he's going to be fighting the best of the best every fucking time.
He has changed a lot, dude. I remember watching him when he was like, before he became the champion, he was fighting Ryan Bader, I think, or something like that. And he had like these black trunks on that were loose. Mm-hmm. I remember he like jumped backwards over whoever he was fighting, and I'm just like, "What the?"
Ryan Bader, dude? And then took his back and like choked him out or
dude,
pounded
it was
him out.
Like, man, this guy's incredible, but he doesn't do that stuff anymore. Or like when he beat Shogun and made him tap out, like, dude. I mean, Jones.
Like I think it's just the caliber of fighters he's fighting now. Like those guys aren't gonna let you get away with that shit,
No, yeah, the game has definitely changed. I've never been a fighter or even trained. I mean, I barely like doing the PT test, but there hasn't been a single UFC I've missed in a long time. So
yeah, man,
he's probably one of my favorites, if not my favorite, to watch.
I got good feedback on my MMA podcast that I used to do, and I got to get back into it. The thing is, I fall off for a few months, and I go and look at a fight card, and it's like, who the fuck are half of these people, you know? And I don't keep up with the fighters like I used to, and and I hate doing one where it's like, I don't know this guy. How can I be sitting here talking about fights on a podcast when it's like I don't necessarily know him,
Yeah,
it's that content thing.
Yeah, I'm the same. My wife keeps telling me I need to start a podcast, but I'm like, I don't even know what the hell I'd talk about.
That's how I felt, bro. I don't know, man. Like for a while I would get into like different things like genres and stuff. And they say you need a niche, right? So like MMA could be a niche that I was using for a little while. But like my straight up solo cast where I sit and just rant and talk about anything, there's really no niche to it, man. It is just the whole Bill Burr thing. I know Chris D'Elia before he got in trouble with, underage girls. Like they were just these solo guys that can sit and rant for like an hour straight and make shit funny and goofy and stuff. And people are like, oh, some of the jokes you've written, I've did stand-up comedy like 3 times, bro. One time was pretty good. The other 2, I ate a bag of dicks when I was on stage, man. And that's just how it goes. But people are like, oh, tell some of your jokes or some of your material on there. And I'm like, that is the hackiest thing you can do, man. It's like, try to tell jokes because you're not getting any feedback from anybody. You're not hearing laughs.
Yeah, you're just like, why'd the chicken cross the road? Oh, okay. And then you just kind of,
yeah, man.
Get some.
I need to get some of that. That Batcat shit was just crazy today, huh?
Yeah, dude. I don't know how you can. Man.
The voice.
Yeah. Like, I don't know how Christian Bale did it through
college humor. You ever watch any of their videos on YouTube? They had a Batman, and I kind of stealing it from them. That was the same thing. Like there was one episode where he grabs the guy with his grappling hook thing, and he pulls him up, and the guy's upside down, and he's like, where are the other drugs going? And he's like, what voice is that? And then he's like, I'm still working on my voice. And it shows him go through all these accents and just dumb shit. And all of a sudden he starts coughing, and he's like, where are the other drugs going? And he goes, hey, and the guy's like, no, that's a good voice right there. He's like, what? He's like, I just lost my voice, and it's just, it's funny, man. They have a whole bunch of them. They're pretty funny. And they portray Batman as just this imbecilic idiot that's whatever. And that's where I kind of stole it from.
That movie with Heath Ledger was it's got to be the best Batman I've seen. My favorite.
Dude, when I was in Qatar, I watched the one with Bane. Is it Dark Knight Rises or whatever? The one with Bane in it. I watched it so many freaking times. I just thought it was the coolest movie ever. I don't know why I watched it so much. Yeah. Guardians of the Galaxy back in the day. I think I was going through some depression or something, but I would sit in the basement of my ex-fiance's house and just watch Guardians of the Galaxy over and over again. The second one I didn't like, but
wow.
We watch a lot of shows now. Last night we started this one we had to get Peacock. It's the streaming network, the streaming platform. And this is John Wayne Gacy, the serial killer.
Okay.
It's about him, and like, there's all these interviews they did with him that never got released, and now they're finally releasing him in this documentary. And dude, we watched the first episode last night, and I'm hooked already.
It's one of those binge watching cool things.
Yeah, man.
We watched a lot of Netflix. What was that last? Bridgerton. Have you seen that one?
No, I haven't. I've heard about it.
Yeah, we've like binge watched that.
The chess one.
The Queen. Yeah, the Queen's Gambit, dude. That
was pretty good, man.
Yeah, yeah. I don't even like chess, but that was a good one.
I used to play chess a little bit here and there back in the day.
I don't even know. Like, I mean, I know the movements and the basic principle of it, but
my buddy, bro, he would get into chess tournaments, and all he would do to prepare was he would get on his computer and play like a chess game on his computer, and he would set his opponent's level to like super expert or whatever, and then he would just watch what moves they do, and he would learn that way or something.
That's a good way to do it.
And he would win tournaments and stuff. Like, stupid.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I could play checkers.
I used to play checkers with my grandpa. I never beat him, not once. It's because he never moved his back row. But man,
yeah, man, that's all I got. I just, married, 3 kids, still
how
in the Air
kids?
Force. 13, 11, and 6, all girls.
Well, your daughter that you had in Turkey, how far do you live away from her? Or do you?
Yeah, she lives in Texas, in Dallas, and so it was kind of nice being in San Antonio. We could just drive and pick her up for the summertime.
Is she still there?
Yeah, she's still there.
And did Dawn get out and stay? Is she that where she lives now?
Yeah,
or whatever?
Now she lives in Dallas. Well, Dallas suburb area, yeah.
Is that part of your motivation for staying to go into San Antonio? Just kind of keeps you closer to your daughter or whatever?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was nice to just, now we have to like try to schedule airfare, and it's more of a summertime thing, where when I was there, we kind of could get more access. And so it was nice to get to hang out with her.
My youngest son lives in Pierce, South Dakota, man. And like, the problem is I went into a whole bunch of debt. Like, I would just go and we'd get a hotel and stay there and go do fun stuff. And I would put it all on credit cards, and that just wrecked me financially. So now it's like, I feel terrible. that I don't go and see him as often as I do, but it's like I just don't have the money, you know, to go do it. And it's like I got to learn from my mistakes, and I can't be putting myself into a bunch of debt, you know, to go see him. And we play video games all the time together, and it's not like I'm not in contact with him and stuff. And
Yeah, that's great, man. Love to get
yeah,
to see him. Yeah, I
but
mean, we pretty much communicate with her over like FaceTime, and you
I'm
know,
gonna go see him this weekend. It's the first time in a long time though, because COVID and stuff, and I don't know. I just make dumb excuses for myself, man.
yeah, yeah.
Deadbeat dad. I'm not
I
a
actually
deadbeat dad.
I got my first vaccine a couple weeks ago. Waiting for the second.
Dude, Robin and her kids all got it. We went to my brother's wedding. We're staying in a hotel, and Robin forgot her toothbrush. She was using my toothbrush and everything. 2 days after the wedding, she tested positive for COVID, and her kids got it. They were asymptomatic, so they didn't really deal with it. Robin was pretty sick for like a week. I never got it, dude. I tested negative 3 different times now, and I never got it. Like, if it's as contagious as they say it is, and this and that, like,
Maybe
how in
you
the
got it
fuck,
before
dude?
and you didn't know.
Maybe,
I mean,
that's the only
that's
thing
the
I
only
think
thing
of.
I mean, because dude, I was in Southern California at a training school, and I feel like the entire school got it, you know, but they didn't know what it was at the time because this was when it first started kicking off, and everybody was sick, and I remember getting sick, and so I feel like I got it then, and it's
We all
kind of
just thought it was the flu or what?
yeah, like you know, people weren't coming to school and weren't going to work, you know, they're like, oh well, so and so's out because they don't feel good, so we'll see him tomorrow, you know, and then I even took a day, you know, like man, I feel fucked up, like I need to stay home, and so I feel like I got it then, but they had no testing or anything like that at the time, and maybe that just made me immune to it. I don't know. I've
I
been
went
around some
to
places, and
so I went to treatment in would have been January of 2020 in St. Cloud, Minnesota. It was for PTSD and for my addiction shit with all the weed I was smoking. I started drinking a lot. I know you're on like a time limit, right? You got to go somewhere soon.
yeah, we got to get to the grocery store.
I hear you. I'm gonna go to the
Family
gym
first.
tonight for the first time in like it's been weeks since I've been to the gym. We foster dogs, dude, and I got fucking mange from a dog. It's called
Oh,
scabies. And I hate talking about it because I'm like scabies sounds like some fucking disgusting STD. And man, it has been miserable, dude. If I go back in time, I wouldn't have touched those fucking puppies, man.
man,
But you
that's
gotta
crazy.
bathe them every couple days and this and that. But like I wish I would have wore rubber gloves or something, dude.
I feel like
I
being a
got
dog handler made me
tore
not
up.
want pets. It's
I
crazy.
thought that way for a long time. When I got out of the Air Force, I never got a dog right away. We waited to get a dog. We live out in the country now. And we have 2.5 acres, and that's when we decided like I was like, dude, it's not fair when I see people get a dog and they live in a small apartment or a small house in town, and it's like,
Yeah, my wife has
well,
two dogs. They're both like small, and you know they're cool, but you know
dude,
I always
I
feel
honestly,
like I should be training this dog to do something, but I don't even want, you know, like that. I don't want nothing to do with it.
my dog, our oldest dog, Bailey, she's like a plot hound, 3 years old now. She's pretty obedient. I got her trained pretty well. She just likes fucking food. Like they all love food so much that
Yeah,
it's like it's so easy to train a dog that's that food fucking
sure.
driven.
And my wife loves these dogs, and they love her. They're all, you know, all about her, and it's crazy the connection that they have, you know, with each other. Like this dog, he looks at me and he's like, "Motherfucker, get back," you know. So yeah, it's crazy. But
But
yeah, I mean, just I feel like for being a dog handler for so long that now I'm just kind of like, want nothing to do with it.
I was that way for a while. I was burned out of fucking spraying dog shit all day, every day, and
Yeah,
dealing with asshole dogs that bite you if you do the wrong fucking thing. And but
yeah.
got off track. So like when I went to treatment, dude, the day I checked into treatment, uh, dude, I got sick as fuck. Actually, the night before, I could feel it. Like I'm like something's going on, dude. I was so fucking sick, man. Like hot, cold, pissing out my ass, throwing up, like everything. And they tested me, and they said it was influenza B. But I wonder if there was like something to do with COVID in there. You know what I mean?
It
And
could have been. Yeah, it could
but I
have
mean, if
been.
they tested me, I don't know, but
I
maybe.
don't know.
Dude, yeah, dude, I lay in my bed just wanting. I mean, I deal with the suicidal tendency shit here and there because of PTSD and whatnot, you know, and a big part of my show is like, you listen, I like to talk about mental health and stuff, try to help other people through it and realize like Dave's this cool, badass dude and he struggles with stuff, you know.
It's crazy you bring that up. I've been struggling with that since 2006. Like I can remember the moment that has affected me with all this. And I had these terrible dreams, for the last 15 years that, I wake up in these sweats and whatever. And I've never said anything about it because I was always afraid of my security clearance, and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to go to mental health. And so finally, it actually was last week. I was like, fuck this. I've got to go talk to somebody about this. And so I made a mental health appointment and I go talk to them on April 12th, I think, or something. I have to look at my calendar. But
good for you, man. Like, I feel like I wish, dude. So when like all the cheating and all the stuff I did, and like, dude, I was selling weed. I was out of control, man. And I didn't realize, like, I knew I was struggling from something. I've always been fucking kind of weird and crazy or whatever, and there's always people that go around and I have PTSD, I have depression, I have anxiety. And I feel like they use it as an excuse. I look back on it now and I have a little more sympathy for those people. But, before, when I finally started talking to somebody or going to treatment, it was like, you do these addictive personality things and you do this destructive stuff and your self-esteem is, I seem like I have high self-esteem, but dude, I hate myself for all the mistakes and the dumb shit I've ever done. And you don't realize like that's all part of the PTSD, and going to treatment was the best thing I ever did. I wish I went sooner. Clean and sober 15 months now. I joke that I fucking hate it. I want to drink so bad, man. Smoke a joint.
I've never been much into drinking. I smoke cigarettes and that's it. I've never done any other drugs or anything like that. So
smoke some weed when you get out, bro.
I know, right? Yeah. Honestly, I don't think that the PTSD thing really affects me other than these crazy ass dreams. And it's always the same dream over and over of this event that happened to me when I was deployed. So it's just like, I don't know. I mean, I know that it affects my sleep because shit, dude, it's been 15 years and this kind of thing happens to me weekly, if not multiple times a week, that I just wake up and I'm like, fuck. And it seems so real,
I've been there, dude.
Again. Why is it?
Dude, that was a huge part of my justification for smoking weed. As soon as I started smoking weed, man, I slept like a baby and all my nightmares went away. I used to pop up in the middle of the night, like you said, covered in sweat. I feel like I just got in a fucking fight with somebody.
Yeah.
Sometimes I remember the dream, sometimes I wouldn't. And it's just like a lot of my dreams were like I was just pinned down somewhere and I couldn't move and they were moving in on me. And it was just like, you're going to die. No matter what you do right now, you're going to fucking die.
Mine is like I'm in this firefight and I'm pulling the trigger, right? And for whatever reason, the trigger pull is so long that I'm like squeezing, and I have to reach up with my other hand to pull, to make it go all the way back.
Not try to laugh at you, but it's just, your fucking mind. And
then the bullets come out and they just bounce off this dude's head, and I'm just like, fuck, it's
like the monster dream where you can't get away from it no matter how fast you run.
It's crazy, man. And it seems so like, I don't know. And I know in my head that I've had this dream, I don't know, 1,000 times in the last 15 years. And I don't know, dude, it fucks me up sleeping. And, I'll wake up the next day or I'll go through the next day and just be all tired and fucked up because I don't know. Yeah. And I feel like mentally that for whatever reason, it has made me like, okay, I've got to take a shower before I go to bed. Because then I can, just be clean to get into bed and it won't make me sweat. I'm still gonna have the dream, but I won't wake up all fucking sweaty and shit.
Yeah.
God, it's terrible. But anyway, so I've just kind of been dealing with it, And I was talking to my wife about it and she's just like, you need to see somebody.
But I mean, at least you're not out of control, dude. I went out of control, man. And I don't know, dude. I couldn't. When I in treatment, I have mother issues, right? My mom left when I was like 6 or 7, replaced by a stepmother who who had a really different way of showing love and just was kind of really mean to us as kids and showed favoritism to my stepsisters and stuff. And I look back on it now, and I was probably a little asshole kid, and I was probably hard to get along with too, you know. And
Yeah, probably.
I just, I don't know. Like I have this need for love that'll never be filled. So here I am sleeping with all these girls, starting all these weird side relationships, trying to fill this love glass that'll never be filled, you know. And I just have to realize, like, my girl now, Robin, like, even after all the crazy shit I did to her, like, keeps me in her life and like still still
That's good,
wants
man.
me, dude. I
You
know.
got
And so I'm
somebody.
like, how can I not feel loved by that?
Yeah,
Like, that's
that's
true
crazy.
love, man, is like to see that I did all that stuff and it wasn't to necessarily hurt her, you know, it was just I was struggling with my shit. And dude, ever since, man, I've been, dude, not having to worry about her looking in my phone, or if, like, you come home and she's got a weird look
Yeah.
on her face and you're like, did I get busted? Or coming home, am I going to smell like the girl I was just with? Like, it was like this huge backpack or rucksack taken off my back, man, and a relief that
That's good.
I don't got to hide shit anymore, man. And it's nice being completely honest. And, you know, you can't be 100% honest. There's little things where, you know, the whole, oh, you look fat in those jeans thing, you know. But other than that, man, it's good being, I love being honest and I love being open. Sometimes I'm a little too honest, brutally honest, but
Yeah,
it is what
man.
it
I
is,
don't
man.
know. I'm with you. I'm happy. I've got a great relationship and
That's
great
good.
kids. My 6-year-old's ornery sometimes, but she don't listen for shit. She's a redhead, and
My daughter turns 18 in less than like in a little over a week. My other son's 15, 13, and I don't know. They'd rather play video games and just do their thing. And my daughter works and has her boyfriend. And like, we went to Puerto Rico last week. My brother-in-law flew us out to Puerto Rico, and I don't know if you listened to that podcast or not.
yeah,
Dude, Puerto Rico is fucking amazing. You ever been?
I've never been.
You been like Costa Rica or any of those?
Yeah, I've been like to the Caribbean, you know,
Yeah,
a bunch of
man,
times.
I didn't want to leave, bro. So nice.
You know
And
what's
it doesn't even get
crazy?
overly hot there, man. It's like 95, 90 is the hottest, and it's like 80 all year round.
I know. I'd love to move to the Caribbean, like retire to the Caribbean, win the Powerball, move to the Caribbean. That's the retirement plan.
My podcast takes off, dude, and I'm like Joe Rogan status.
Yeah, there you
Spotify
go.
sending me
There
100
you go.
million.
Shoo.
Dude, they're trying to cancel him. I was reading something the other day, and it all has to do with that Fallon Fox bullshit, where he talks. You know, there was a woman. She's a woman now, but was a man for like 32 years of her life. And she gets in the cage and is beating up women, like,
Yeah, no.
you know. And he has no problem with, you know, people, whatever you want to do in your life, as long as you're not hurting anybody else. Well, this fucking woman who used to be a dude is in there breaking women's orbitals and cracking their skulls and shit. Like,
Yeah, I'm with him on that. Like, I don't give a shit what you do in your personal life.
yeah.
Yeah, but when it comes
You
to things
can't
like
cancel
that,
that
it's
dude, though. There's no way they're going to be able
there's
to
no
cancel
way.
him.
He's the biggest.
Not a
He's the
chance.
biggest show there is. I mean, I watched. Did you watch the one with him and Derek Lewis the other day?
Yeah, that one was good.
Derek Lewis. He's up there too. Top 5 favorite guys. You know,
He's hilarious.
if he's the only guy on the pay-per-view, I'm buying it because you know Derek Lewis is on it.
Do you follow him on Instagram or anything? Are you on
Yeah, a little
Instagram?
bit. Yeah, he does. Yeah,
He
all his
posts those
videos and
videos of
shit.
people getting fucked up, and he's always like, he's okay. It's like the guy's obviously not okay. Oh, man. But yeah, man. All right. Well, let's wrap it up, I guess.
Yeah, man, it was good to
That's not a
talk to
very
you.
good, not a good segue to an ending, but
Yeah, well,
dude, I seriously, man, with all my heart, man, I appreciate you bugging me to do this. Cause like, dude, every podcast I'm like, I'm going to get some guests on. Like, I have all these fighter friends and stuff that would probably make pretty interesting guests. And I don't know why I don't do it. I think it's just, I'm comfortable sitting here doing it by myself. And I've had a few guests on, and I listen to them and I'm like, God, I asked dumb questions, or I talked over them, or I just talked too much. And,
yeah,
but, you know,
it
like I
is what it
said, the
is.
only way I'm going to get better at it is by having guests and just doing the whole conversational piece. And
Yeah,
I appreciate you bugging me about it, dude.
yeah,
For
we'll
real.
see how your ratings go.
But the podcast where I have guests on, I get more listens. That's crazy.
Yeah, 5
Like,
stars,
dude,
people.
I will have my girlfriend's 8-year-old son on, and I'll get more listens on that podcast. You know what I mean? Because I'm sure her side of the family and relatives are like, oh, what's Tristan got to say and this and that. And
Yeah,
he's cute. He loves it. I was streaming video games for a while, and the podcast, like, people, younger kids think it's like the coolest fucking thing ever.
yeah,
And my kids won't be on it. Like, my daughter said she'll be on it here soon. My son, 15, Davey Jr., is like, video games. He doesn't care about anything else. He fucking hates school. Like comes up with every excuse to not do his schooling.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, you're gonna fail. And he goes, I don't give a shit. I'm like, you're not gonna graduate. And he goes, nah, whatever. I'm like, oh my God, man. Like, what do I got to do to get him motivated? But for real, man, thanks for getting me out of my little
I
rut.
appreciate you having me. It was fun.
Let's do it again sometime, bro.
All right, yeah. I'll buy this Sportster. Hopefully, if she'll let me. If she's listening, we'll see.
Dude, that's one thing is like we don't have a garage or a shop in my house, and I miss tinkering with stuff. We have out in the little shed I have a go-kart, and that thing's pretty fun, but it just needs a lot of work still and carburetor issues. And then I've been
we'll get back up. But yeah.
All right, man.
Jones. I got Jones in
You got Jones?
Yeah, we'll bet $1. You take Francis. I got Jones.
If it happens, man, like I guess Jones, everybody's been like Jones is scared, but if you know Jones ain't scared to fight him.
Scared of nobody. He's scared of not getting paid. That's what he's scared of.
Sure. I'd be a little worried fighting Francis.
I would be too.
Dude, if I weigh 250, I'd fight him. I'm probably gonna get knocked out, but there's a good chance that I'm gonna take his fucking ass down and grind it out. I'm like a ground guy,
Yeah.
I mean,
jeez, I couldn't imagine that guy.
That big shot, dude. Like even at my lightweights that I fought, we're gonna keep fucking going, dude. We're not gonna stop. But even at my lightweights, man, every time I fought, I'm like, I'm gonna fucking eat one and go to sleep, and all my friends are watching and shit. Like the nerves. But
that dude but Jones is incredible, man. I mean, that dude is fantastic at what he does. He's
the best to ever do it, I think.
Oh yeah, for sure. Sure.
All right, brother.
All right, cool, man. Well,
I'll introduce you in the intro and stuff and all that. Like, I don't know why I'm talking about that right now. I probably could have talked about that afterwards. But
yeah. All right. I'll talk to
you
later.
Brother. Later, man.
All right.
All right, you guys. There you have it, man. That was my first ever Zoom podcast, and I think it went really well. Thank you, Matt, for doing this with me, for kind of motivating me to do it and keeping on my ass about it. I really do appreciate it, man. And I hope you guys liked it. This opens the door for a lot. I've had a lot of people who they don't really live in the area. They're, can't really get together physically to do a podcast, and they've talked about it doing it this way. And I finally did it. And like I said, I'm excited to do more and kind of get more into the conversationalist podcast, you guys, because you're fucking sick of hearing about me, I'm sure, and my stupid opinions and ideas and whatnot. But it is what it is, you guys. Thank you so much for listening. Thanks for checking in on me. Until next time. Later, guys. Or gals.